Good morning, good morning, good morning again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC so called Behavior Modification Program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused. You know the drill. Read the article, share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC actually does see through with their threat. All right, folks. Trigger warning number one. We discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School. You're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning number two, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If you are 16 and younger and you are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised, all right? Now let's make it short and sweet because I want to go for a walk. So, where we left off last time. Despite this update, FDA has determined that the risks of illness or injury posed by the use of ESDs for SIB or AB are substantial and unreasonable. In other words, you can nitpick all you want to, but at the end of the day, those ER documents, that video surveillance footage, those ER photos speak volumes in regards to whether that device gives someone risk of harm or injury. Also, common sense and reason are on the side of the FDA here because it is completely insane to believe that someone getting shocked just below the lethal limit by that device has no side effects. I am not going to suspend my intelligence to accept that answer. I'm sorry, I can't do that. All right? It's ridiculous to think otherwise. Come on now. Jeez. I kind of wonder what kind of state of a human being do you have? What kind of human being do you have to be to actually truly believe the crap that comes out of the JRC's mouth? Especially when what they say is opposed to all logic, reason, science, and current medical practice. Just saying. Some special Kool-Aid. Let's get to where we were, right? In the proposed rule, FDA used the comparison with ISDs to support the risks of post-traumatic reactions up and including to PTSD based on the pain and corresponding distress of potential future shocks. In other words, they were using it as a comparison. All right? As a similar device. And that's pretty much where it stopped. That those that use that type of device did sometimes get PTSD. I'm pretty sure if somebody shot me full of electricity, I would come away with even worse form of PTSD than the one I currently already have lodged in my brain. Just saying. That just makes logical, coherent sense. And I know I should stop demanding that the world make logic coherent sense, but I'm autistic. That side of me is probably never going to go away. Let's read on, shall we? FDA made a comparison on the basis that each device delivers an electric shock to an individual that is out of the individual's control, occurs multiple times, and is generally perceived as surprising, painful, or unpleasant. So this is another instance where the JRC is referring to a device that has no comparison to theirs because the individual on said device actually controls that device, whereas that is not the same at the JRC. And the JRC can argue parental consent until the cows come home. Parental consent is not the consent of the patient themselves. We got to stop using this as a gotcha all argument, okay? Because in particular cases like this one, they hold absolute no water because the parent is not the one being brutalized by the device. The kid is. The kid, this is what's important here, folks. The kid has no control. Zip, nada, nothing, zilch in this situation. This is something the FDA is pointing out here, that the JRC keeps batting away with its parental consent. The parent is not the one on the shock device. The patient is. The patient is not given a say. This is a fact. You cannot say parental consent is the patient's consent because it's not. All right. Jesus. If you can tell, I've heard that argument more times than I care to think about. The FDA made comparison on the basis that each device delivers electric shock to an individual. Again, that's part of their control. That person is controlling that device. The device used at the JRC is not controlled by the patients there, okay? It's quite simple. As such, our comparison was narrow, limited to the particulars of such a stimulus, and yielded additional support for observations already made based on consideration of ESDs themselves. Not only that, but the mountains of ER paperwork that came from actual professional ER goddamn doctors that talk about all the fun parts of being put on a human shock collar that is way more powerful than a police taser. The removal of the narrow comparison from our assessment, therefore, does not remove the basis for identifying such risks, even though it removes some support based on a device type comparison. In other words, we may not have these specifics, but part of the reason why we still give this a bit more weight is because of the fact that with one, the device is controlled by the person. With the other, the patient is given no consideration or choice at all. That is the difference, folks. Okay. You are putting these devices on kids who have no choice, no say. And if the JRC had their will, no voice in regards to their own health and happiness. Okay. That is the glaring difference between the GED with every single other device out there that even that is somewhat similar on the surface. Those devices are chosen by the patient to the point that the patient willingly signs a waiver to that effect. And when said device is used, it is done so with the utmost care to make the discomfort as minimal and painless as humanly possible. The JRC's device does the exact opposite to maximize pain stimuli. Okay? And literally, they created that device because they just didn't feel like the SIBIS machine gave a painful enough shock to the students locked in that hellhole. Okay? So, again, another conversation that did not have to be had the specific device in question been actually named instead of using vague terms to refer to it, even if you do everything outside of naming the device. But here we are, right? All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. If you could, folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to utilize those comments. I appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.